Hi everyone. I wanted to take a few minutes to give you a couple of comments um, that I think are important after reading the polished critical theory works that you did. So I'm just going to go over a couple of things that I think are important. So we need to remember that when we are applying a critical theory to a text, we'll just, whatever this is, that we actually apply it to the text, which means that we don't think of a work as being a work that is archetypal criticism. The critical theory is something. A set of lenses for glasses is a good way to look at it. Those are glasses, but it's a kind of set of beliefs or understandings or questions that we apply to a text to get to meaning. So when we're applying critical theory, we want to look at the work using the questions or ideas from a theory. So if we want to look at a feminist criticism, we look at those ideas. If we want to look at an archetypal, we use the ideas of archetypal criticism. And what we get from that is then we get a way to understand the text. So we always say that we apply a critical theory, or that a good way to look at a work is to look at it through that critical lens, sometimes we say. And I like to say critical lens because I think critical lens reminds us that it's a way for us to actually look at the text and not necessarily a way, like it's not necessarily embedded in the text. In fact, an author might not even be thinking of this using archetypes, say. In fact, the archetypes exist whether the author knows about them or not. So an author and a critical theory, there's not necessarily any connection between what the author was thinking and a certain critical theory. It's just a way for the reader to find more meaning. Oh, let me just fix that. So it's a reading tool and not a writing tool. All right, so it is a tool for a reader. And then when you get to that, the idea is that you figure out the theme or the meaning of the text. So if you are going to be looking at a critical theory, you want to make sure that where you're going in the end is the meaning of the text. This is like a, that's not really helping. Imagine this is a chalkboard, which should be a little easier to erase than this, but anyways. So, in summary, you apply a theory as a reading tool to find meaning, and that gets you to the theme. What are we supposed to know? What does the reader learn about life is usually what a theme is. Okay, so when you're writing about this critical theory, you want to remember, one, to know the theory, and also refer to it so your reader being me in this case doesn't have to guess. You should apply elements of that theory, right? So if you're talking about archetypal criticism, you might talk about, as many of you did, like, for example, the archetype of the outsider. Then you want to find proof in the text, and then you want to write the analysis. So it's often called a critical analysis. And this critical analysis, we're talking about a skill that goes way beyond English, because the idea of doing a critical analysis is that you can take a theory, find evidence, and then apply that theory. So if you think about it, it's a bit like the scientific method, in that you are saying, oh, I think this is feminist, you're finding examples, and then in the end you say, yes, I think there is something that we can learn about the world, and a way to understand the text and get to meaning is to think about feminist theory. Now, one more thing that you should remember to do here is that you need to, oh, that didn't do what I wanted to do. You need to think about a few kind of writing tips or writing styles of your own. So we're going back to the writing, and let's do these in blue just for fun. So that means that you need a thesis that talks about the critical theory that you are going to be using. And the thesis could just be a line like, feminism or feminist critical theory is a great way to look at this work, or psychological critical theory is a great way to take a look at this work, applying the theories of Sigmund Freud, blah, blah, blah. So you need a thesis. Then you need things like topic sentences, etc., right? Good writing. Then you need to think about incorporating quotations. And I've done like a whole PowerPoint presentation on that you can look at, but you need to lead into that. Be careful that you don't try to do all these things all in one sentence, right? That you should be separating your quotations from the point you're trying to make, and then you might put in the quotation. Oh, I don't know why I put question there, just a sec. Quotations, and then you have to show or explain what the quotation proves, which hopefully is your point. So those are just a few quick things that I wanted to talk to you about. This is one of the most difficult sections in the course, I find. Oh, great, we got a new page. That's exactly what I wanted to do. This is perhaps one of the most difficult assignments because it's something that in a face-to-face class we talk about forever, but it's like shoved into 1 week. So this might be the assignment for many of you that you want to resubmit at the end of the course. Over the years, many students come to the end and then this is the one they want to resubmit. If that's the case, great. If there's another one, if you did fine, like some of you got it without any real problems, and most of my suggestions are ways to help that. Oh, this is a 2-part movie, I guess. I wonder if I can bring them together. This might get fancy. I'll try to do that. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about today.